Good morning, boys and girls. Today is Wednesday, May 20th, 2020. Our journal today is, if I could eat the same food for the whole week, I would eat blank because blank. So if you could have the same food for a whole week, what would you pick and why? And make sure you draw a picture of that food and make sure it's colored in and there's details. Some of you are not doing that with your journals, and I am being picky now. So please make sure you're doing 3 sentences, a detailed picture, and it's colored in. So today is Wednesday, so it's a vocabulary day. So we have 2 vocabulary words that we're going to look for, and we're going to look and listen for plundered, and we're going to look and listen for gloating. Okay? All right. And our story today is called Pirate Pete. And it was written by Kim Kennedy and illustrated by Doug Kennedy. Put my glasses on. All right, here we go. Gold put the twinkle in Pirate Pete's eye, the shine in his hook, and the sparkle in his smile. Why, he liked gold so much that he plundered every ship and shore in 7 seas in search of the gleaming booty. Okay, so plundered means to take over. When he heard that the Queen had discovered a treasure map, Pete had to have it. After all, he explained to his parrot, where there's treasure, there's gold, and where there's gold, I'm a-goin'. Pete journeyed to the Queen's castle, where he whispered a plan to his feathered companion. You sing her to sleep, and I'll steal the map. Aye, squawked the bird. Up he fluttered to the highest tower, where the Queen sat, gloating over her map. Gloating means to talk about yourself, and talk about how good you are, and how fabulous you are, and how good you are at something. Softly the parrot sang her a lullaby. The dirty trick, the old high seas snoozeroo, worked like a charm on the Queen. While her head bobbed like a man overboard, Pete climbed the tower and snatched up the map. By the time the Queen awoke, Pete was far out to sea. Unfurl the map, he told the bird. There lies the gold, he declared, pointing to the bold black X on Mermaid Island. To Mermaid Island we go. We must be swift, said the parrot. Her Majesty's fleet will be after us for sure. Pete spun the wheel east, and with a great gust of wind, the ship sailed off. Fine sailing weather, said the parrot. Pete might have agreed. Aye, 'tis. But he had just spied an island up ahead. He checked the map. That be Candy Island. He growled, twisting up his nose. I thinks we should pay it a visit. We don't have time, said the parrot. We've got to get to Mermaid Island. Listen up, matey, said Pete. Where there's candy, there's rotten teeth. And where there's rotten teeth, there's gold to fill 'em. And where there's gold, I'm a-goin'. The stubborn pirate turned the ship toward Candy Island, and with a good wind behind them, they were soon upon its sugary shores. Wow. Bet you some of you would like to be on Candy Island. Avast, ye candy eaters, Pete ordered to the islanders. Open ye mouths so I can see your gold teeth. Peeked into the mouth of every licorice-licking, taffy-tugging, chocolate-chomping soul on the island, but he had not reckoned on a toothbrushing. Pearly whites, he cursed. No gold, no gleamin' booty. He snatched up some sweets and shoved off. I'll not veer off course again, he promised the parrot. To Mermaid Island we go. So these kids were smart. They had toothbrushes. Fine sailing weather, said the parrot. Pete might have agreed. Aye, 'tis. But he had just spied a pot of gold. Clover Island. That's not where we're headed, said the pirate. Listen up, matey, grumbled Pete. Where there's clover, there's leprechauns. And where there's leprechauns, there's pots of gold. Where there's gold, I'm a-goin'. There's the little elf, cried Pete as the ship creaked ashore, a genuine leprechaun sitting next to a pot of gold. Before the merry man could cock his hat, Pete seized the pot, scrambled to the ship, and shoved off. "Irish stew!" he hollered when he lifted the lid. "No gold! No gleaming booty!" He gnashed his teeth. "I'll not veer off course again," said Pete. "Next stop, Mermaid Island." So the leprechaun was making stew. "Fine sailing weather," yawned the bird. Pete might have agreed, "Ah, 'tis," but he had just spied a soothing sight for tired eyes, Sleepy Island. "That's not where we're headed," the pirate reminded him. "Listen up, matey. Where there's sleeping, there's the Sandman. And where there's the Sandman, there's magic gold dust. And where there's gold, I'm a-goin'." Pete sailed to the snoozy shores where the Sandman was tiptoeing from bed to bed. Pete grabbed the old man's bag and reached inside. "Storybooks!" Pete bellowed, waking the island. "No gold, no gleaming booty!" So he hooked a book and shoved off. I'll not veer off course again," he said, pulling on his nightcap. "Tomorrow morning we make for Mermaid Island." So always a good book will put you to sleep, right? The sun rose and the ship sailed on. "Fine sailing weather," said the bird. Pete might have agreed, "Ah, 'tis," but he had just spied the smoldering sight, Dragon Island. He turned the ship toward its smoky peaks. "That's not where we're headed," flapped the pirate. "Listen up, matey. Where there's a dragon, there's a lair. And when there's a lair, there's gold. And where there's gold, I'm a-goin'." Ashore, Pete crept into the dragon's lair, where he found the giant lizard snoozing beside a golden egg. Between the snorts and snores, Pete sneaked the egg from its hazy nest, rolled it to a ship, and shoved off. Uh-oh. "'Tis a golden egg," guessed Pete. Suddenly the shiny shell cracked open. Out popped a baby dragon with a mouthful of flames. "That's no goose," cried Pete. "It's a fire-breathing lizard, and he set our sails ablaze. Abandon ship!" And so the little dragon set the ship on fire. While the baby dragon flew off with his mother, Pete and his parrot jumped into a rowboat. The parrot watched in despair as their trusty ship sank beneath the waves with a simmering splash. "We're done for," sobbed the parrot. "Whale bait, shark snacks." "Them's no sharks," said Pete. "Them's be mermaids." "We made it," cheered the parrot. "We made it to Mermaid Island." "Hand me the treasure map," Pete declared, crawling onto shore. After yelling out paces and counting out steps, hobbling to the right and wobbling to the left, Pete finally called, "Here 'tis marks the spot." Pete began digging. Then he struck something. "A treasure chest," he cried. With a clang of his cutlass, he broke the chest lock. The lid flew open to reveal gold, Petey sang. Gleaming booty. It was a pirate's dream come true. While Pete bathed in the glorious riches, a shadow fell over him. "The Queen," squawked the parrot as guards gathered round. "Look here, your majesty," said Pete, fumbling with a fib. "I got your treasure all dug up and waiting for you." But the Queen would not be tricked this time. "Take the gold," she ordered the men, "but leave the pirate and his bird here alone." Then, as quickly as they had come, the Queen and her troops disappeared. "All that work and no gold, no gleaming booty," moaned the parrot. "What's worse, we're marooned." So they're stuck. "Not to worry, matey," said Pete with a wink. "The Queen may have taken our gold, but she forgot our boat." So Pete and his faithful companion set off again, this time for the sunset, where the ocean glistened like thousands coins of gold. After all, where there was gold, they were a-goin'. Okay, so plundered means to take. And Pirate Pete, whoops, plundered every ship he saw. So he took everybody's gold. Okay, and remember when you're writing your sentence, please make sure you highlight the capital letter and you highlight the period. And then gloating means to talk about yourself. To brag. Okay? The queen was gloating about her treasure map. Again, highlight the capital letter and the period. And I'm just going to use my blue marker to fix that. Okay, sorry about that. I moved too quickly. So, plundered means to take. Pirate Pete plundered every ship he saw. Gloating means to talk about yourself, to brag. The queen was gloating about her treasure map. Please make sure when you draw the pictures, there are details and they are colored in.